everyone. Welcome to video number 2 for our Positivity Posters Project. The PPP, the Positivity Posters Project. I'm here with my friend Bunzie D Rabbit, and I thought we would start off this lesson with talking a little bit about how colors work and how our eyes see color. Now, it's very important to know that not everybody sees color in the same way. If I said, well, look, I have a yellow flower, you might say to me, oh, you know what? That looks more white than yellow to me, or that might look more orange than yellow to me. Or if I said, I have a purple marker, you might say, you know, that looks kind of blue to me. So not everybody sees color the same way. But we're going to make some assumptions that we're going to agree that this is yellow for our project and this is purple. And the reason I put these two objects together, I thought this flower felt a lot like something I would think about when I'm thinking about positivity, a bright yellow flower. And I picked a purple marker because I know that yellow and purple are complementary colors. They say nice things to each other. You look nice. You look nice too. Actually, what that means is that they sit on opposite ends of the color wheel. And if you've never seen a color wheel, I'd like to show you mine. Here's one that I made. So here's our color wheel. So I had that yellow flower and that purple marker. They are complementary colors. You see how I have this double-headed arrow here? The arrow is always going to point towards complementary colors. So yellow and purple are complementary. Green and red are complementary. Blue and orange are complementary. And well, why is that important, you might ask? There are a couple of reasons. One, it's just an interesting thing to know. Two, it's going to help you if you ever get stuck and you're not sure what color you should use. So let's say on your poster you chose to use a lot of purple, that you took out your purple crayon and started drawing on your positivity poster with the purple crayon. If you wanted the purple to look like it was even brighter than normal, you might put a little bit of yellow, something yellow next to the purple. Our eyes and our brains do this really cool thing where when they see colors that are complementary to each other, meaning they're sitting on the opposite sides of the color wheel, they look even more vibrant to us. So this is a really interesting thing to look at. The next time you go to the supermarket, or if you look around in your pantry, look at the packages in your pantry. I'm going to guess that some of the companies that created the packages on the foods in your pantry used complementary colors to make the colors pop more. So here's a really good example. Here's a really good example of a company using complementary colors to make the packaging more exciting. So most of this packaging has orange on it, right? There's some white and some black and some yellow, but the number 2 color on this package is blue because the artists that created this package knew that when they put blue next to orange, it would look even more exciting. This happens too with artists who create cards, like birthday cards or get well cards or Christmas cards, or happy wedding cards. Artists who make cards know this trick as well. If you look at a birthday card, which is a happy event, which is a very happy event, you'll see that the artist probably used some complementary colors. They used colors on opposite sides of the color wheel. But then if they were developing a card that had something to do with maybe something that was a little bit sad, like maybe they were making a card that was like, I'm sorry that your goldfish died, and you wanted to make someone feel better, they might use colors that aren't complementary, but colors that sit next to each other on the color wheel, which are called analogous colors. Analogous colors, which means that they sit next to each other. So this green and this green are analogous colors. This yellow and this orange yellow are analogous colors. So if they were trying to create a card that was a little bit more somber, they'd probably use colors that were analogous. And here's another artist tip. They'd probably use cool colors. Cool colors. Like think about cool water or cold snow. So in general, colors that sit on this side of the color wheel are considered cool colors. And then colors that sit on this side of the color wheel are considered, can you guess? If these are cool, that's right, these are warm colors. These are warm colors. So if you think of a bright sunny day, they have a little bit more energy and pop, and they feel warm. So just some interesting stuff to know about color. So if you decide that my favorite color, your favorite color for your project is yellow, I'm going to suggest to you that you find a purple pencil or crayon or marker and put a little bit of purple next to that yellow, because it's going to make that yellow seem even brighter and more exciting. So we're going to be using what's called dry media for our project. So dry media is basically things like markers, pencils, crayons. We're going to use other pieces of paper that we collage onto our posters. We're not today for this project using anything like watercolor or acrylic paint or oil paint. That's considered wet media. We're going to be using what's considered dry media. But here is something interesting to know about wet media. So I'd like you to come away from taking this class, learning about these positivity posters. I'd like you to know some art stuff as well as knowing about how to have a sunny attitude. So what I'd like you to see here is I've used paint to create my color wheel and this line of boxes. Can you guess how many colors I used in all of these boxes? Only two. I've only used two colors. I used complementary colors. I used red and green to create all of these colors. So this box here is, guess what? It's all red. And guess what this one is? All green. That's right, all green. And then when I mix in to wet paint, so I have wet red paint, and I mix in a little bit of wet green paint, I get a box that looks like this. I get a box that looks a little more brownish, a little more subdued. And then in this box here, it's mostly green, but I mixed in a little bit of red. And I got this sort of muddy brown color. And then guess what? This box here is 50% green, wet green paint, and 50% wet red paint. Isn't that interesting? So I only use two colors in all of these boxes here, but I'm able to get all these different shades, all these different hues. Isn't that interesting? I think it's cool. So you can imagine that if you were to take a purple, okay, I've got a purple pencil here, and then if I mix in some yellow pencil on top of that, let me get to my yellow pencil. Let's see. Oh, let me pick this one. It's a little bit green. It's a little bit green, but it has a lot of yellow in it. So when I mix that purple and that yellow, and understandably that has some green in it, look at what happens. So here's 100% purple, here's 100% yellow, green, and when they mixed, I get this muddy color. So you can experiment with that as well with your art supply. So with the markers that you have, the colored pencils, you have a pack of 12 colored pencils. So if you take a couple of colors that are complementary, you'll see that when you mix them, you get a muddy color or a dull color. So if you wanted to draw rocks or if you wanted to draw some earth, you could create that without even using a brown marker or a brown pencil. See, here I've got two complementary colors again. I've got a red and a green. So if I put this red down and then I put this green on top of it, because they are complementary colors, I get sort of in between them where they overlap, I get a dulled down color. It's not bright green, it's not bright red anymore. It's sort of this middle dulled color. It's considered a neutral meaning it's not all the way this way and it's not all the way that way. It's not chocolate, it's not vanilla. It's what would happen if you mix chocolate and vanilla together. Isn't that interesting? My friend Bunzie thinks it's interesting. Okay, so that's all I've got to say for this video. I'll see you in video number 3. I just wanted to give you some tips about complementary colors. Complementary colors. Remember, they're colors on the opposite ends of the color wheel, opposite sides of the color wheel. And remember, what are these called? Warm colors, and these are cool colors. And remember, any colors that sit next to each other on the color wheel are called analogous colors. Analogous colors. Look at all the cool words you're learning, and we haven't even started our project yet. How exciting. Okay, my friends, I will see you in video number 3.